Hi, I'm Ariel. Some of you might know me. To some of you, I'm a new face. I'm going to be talking about the state of apps currently because marketing for apps is just not the same. And if you're marketing any app, if you're developing an app, if you have an app on the App Store or Google Play, you probably know what I'm talking about. Who here has an app on the App Store or Google Play right now? Okay, a bunch of hints. This is good. You're in the right place. So you all know that growing your app is getting harder. Back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, and we've been around for a long time, so I know this, it was a lot easier to grow apps because people were coming into the App Store and people were excited about downloading apps. And there weren't that many apps. But there are 3.7 million apps across the App Store and Google Play. Isn't that crazy? 3.7 million. I looked up the number of products at Best Buy. It's about half, 1.8 million. Isn't that crazy? So there are more apps than really anything else in the marketplace that we know. Your apps are in there, my app is in there, and together, there's just a lot of stuff going on. About 46% are on the App Store and 54% on Google Play. Now, this is changing. This was not always the case. It was always the case that Google Play is considerably larger. But over the years, Google has been slimming down because that's how you make money. So there's a lot of competition. 22,000 apps were released in the last week. Can you believe that? 22,000 apps, 23,000 apps, almost 93,000 if we go up a little bit to 30 days, almost 1 million apps released in the last year. Like James said, AI definitely has something to do with it. But it also means that there's a ton of competition. So when you're putting your app in the App Store, if you build it, they're not necessarily going to come because they have so many options. And that's the thing we're trying to solve today. So if you take anything from my talk today is listen to every other talk that's going on because they're going to teach you how to get more downloads. I'm going to show you how to get more downloads towards the end as well. I like this because this makes it really interesting. More than 100 apps released every single hour. So by the time we're done here in about 8 hours, almost 1,000 apps will go into the App Store and Google Play. Isn't that insane? Just insane. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so everyone is releasing a thin wrapper on top of ChatGPT. And that's not at all the case. AI is definitely fueling the creation of apps, but it's not the only way to get apps into the App Store. Those are the 10 top categories. And what I did for this was I used a unified set of categories. So it's not specifically on the App Store or specifically on Google Play. It's across both. And you can see education is getting a lot more apps. Utilities are getting a lot more apps. All these categories are growing. So regardless of where your app is, you're seeing more competition. And that's important because it means you have to work harder. And that's why user acquisition is so important. They all want discovery, and that means that they're all competing against you. At the end of the day, attention spans are limited. So when you are putting an app on the App Store, whether it's an app or a game, and there is a big uptick in app revenue, everyone wants a piece of the pie. 83% of apps use App Store optimization, and that's a conservative number because I had to go through the top 10,000 apps and figure out how many are using keywords versus just their names, and some names are generic. 68% are using Apple ads out of the top 10,000 apps. So they are spending to get discovery, whether it's their money or their effort. And at this point, you have to do either. And if you're not doing either of those, come see me at my booth because you're way behind and we need to fix that. So the real question is, and that's what James was bringing up before, what are they fighting for? They're fighting for this. $148 billion spent in the last 12 months in the App Store and Google Play across apps and games. $148 billion. That's 28% higher than the previous 12 months. Almost 30% more. So there's so much more money. It's getting harder, and obviously there's way more competition, but it's because the money is there. The money is in the banana stand and everyone wants to get it. If you look at the trend is only going up. There have been a few downs, but mostly up. This is the last 12 months. This is incredible. This is the amount of money that people are spending on apps and games on the App Store and Google Play. And as you can see, this is why we're all here. I'm pretty sure, at least. If you're not here for this, talk to me later and tell me why you're here. I'm very curious. And it's not just AI. So AI is definitely big. ChatGPT is making a lot of money, but ultimately, a lot of apps are making more money. It's the apps that are making money or the apps that are trying the most. Those apps that are running custom product pages, Apple search ads, and optimizing with ASO are the ones that are seeing more and more of that revenue. And it makes sense. They're trying, people are coming to the App Store, they have money to spend, and Google Play. But here's the thing, and if you've seen any of my talks, or if you follow me on any social media, or subscribe to my newsletter, you know what's coming. 108 billion downloads, but a 3% decrease from the last 12 months. So while revenue is growing like crazy, like wildfire, the downloads are not. The downloads are actually barely keeping the same, and that's because there's a lot of fatigue. People are so used to apps. There is so much more competition. Most of the apps have already been downloaded. Unless it's something incredibly new, like AI, or like others, it's going to get harder to get someone to download your app. But if you do, then you're going to make more money. So it's a very interesting and vicious cycle, but that's, again, why we're here. And that's why you have to really think about, how do I get to those users? You look at the trend, it's not terrible. A few increases around December and a little bit before, but mostly kind of average. Revenue is up, but downloads are down. That's a trend that I've been seeing over the last almost 2 years, and it makes sense. As more people are spending, more competition comes in. As more competition comes in, more fatigue settles in, and that's why we're seeing this trend. But wait, I gave you a whole bunch of numbers, and you may have no clue who I am. My name is Ariel. You might know me as Ariel from Appfigures. I run Appfigures, an app intelligence company. I also have a YouTube channel, which you may have seen, where I talk about mobile apps and app store optimization and app marketing. I also have a newsletter where I talk about news in the industry. So I know a lot about apps. We have data going back to 2009, and we look at trends all the time. This is really important to me. And I don't like to guess. So I built an app intelligence company. And if you're thinking, but wait, where's this data? Does anyone care about this data? And yes, we're cited in pretty much every major publication. When the New York Times needs data for any of their stories, when TechCrunch needs data for any of their stories, like the 2 they published this week alone, they come to us. And this really matters. We care about this. So enough with me and more about you. How do you win? It's more competitive. There is more money. Obviously more opportunities, obviously harder to get them, with hyper-targeting. And that's, to me, the theme that's going to carry us for the next at least year, maybe even 2. And you can tell because the App Store and Google Play are actually giving us tools to do that. So I put together a few quick things that will help you understand what is hyper-targeting. Hyper-targeting is not giving users what you want to give users, is giving them a solution. Because ultimately, they're coming into the App Store or Google Play, and they're looking for a thing to do. And as time goes by, they're looking less and less and less. So you have to capture them really, really fast. So you can extend your reach with organic keywords. And there are ways to include more organic keywords into your app's name, keyword, subtitle, keyword list, subtitle, long description, short description. There are ways to niche down your Apple Ads campaigns or wherever it is that you're running campaigns. And that's incredibly, incredibly important now. And it's also incredibly important that you show them what they want with custom product pages. That's something that's kind of new. How many of you actually have a custom product page on the App Store right now? There we go. OK, right crowd. So you already know this. It's super important. I've seen so many custom product pages, thousands of custom product pages that I've analyzed myself. And there is more that everyone can do to improve this, because that's what users see. And they want to see what will actually solve a problem for them. The easiest way that I found to do this, because that's a lot of work, is to learn from the competition. And again, if you follow me on any channel, you know that's my go-to. It's the easiest way to understand what's going on. And you can see who they're targeting. You can draw creative inspiration from their custom product pages. You can look at their keywords. You can focus on their ASO. And ultimately, you can win by looking at what works for other apps like you. And that's really the key. It's kind of like cheating when you have great intelligence. So that's all the time I have, I'm pretty sure. Am I right on time? Yes, I am right on time. But a few quick takeaways from this. So a ton of new apps shipped in 2025, 36% more than the previous same period last year. So just like revenue, as revenue is growing, so is the competition and the competitive landscape. Consumer spending rose 28%, downloads dropped a little bit, and so you have to be wary of that. But if you want to grow, you really have to study the competition. So make sure you focus, make sure you study the competition, and go get that revenue. That's Appfigures. We have a booth. If anyone wants to talk about any of what I said, look at the numbers or ask me questions. I'll be outside talking about this. We also have a raffle. We have really cool prizes. James forgot to say we also have a camera as a prize. So if you want that, come to our booth. And that's me. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your conference.